Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Car Wash Magazine Live. I am your host, as always, Matt DeWolf, and we have a phenomenal program for you. See that? I used a different word today, phenomenal. That's vocabulary for the month of May. Phenomenal. Something awesome, something great. So, we're going to have Dave Dalesandro from Jetbrites in Illinois joining us in just a little bit, but we've got a few things I want to get through first. The first thing I want to kind of talk to you all about is something that jumped to the front of my mind this morning when I was having a giant pile of mulch delivered to my house. So what the heck does that have to do with anything, you might ask? So sometimes, right, problems seem really big and really insurmountable. And I was having that vibe when I was getting this mulch delivered, and it shows up, and it's like filling up an entire garage bay. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, like, how in the heck are we going to get all this spread in a timely manner? Like, this is going to take me a long time. And it made me think back to what you might call is a Thorsbyism. So Mark Thorsby is a former executive of the International Car Wash Association, and Thorsby had a way with kind of analogies and stuff. And so Thorsby would say that the best way to do that, to tackle that project, the best way to eat the elephant is one bite at a time. So keep that in mind, right? This weekend when you guys are getting slammed with cars, something's going to go wrong. It's going to feel like a big problem. But guess what? You can fix that problem, and you can do it one bite at a time. So that's Matt's message for you today. Hope it resonates with you, and hopefully you don't have anything go wrong this weekend and everything rocks and rolls the way that it should. Now, this week in Car Wash, my friends, we have a couple things going on. Our friends at Seven Flags have opened up an express wash, and you can see over, dang it, guys, there it is. There's the building up there. It might look a little familiar. Congratulations to our friends at Seven Flags for opening that up. We've got Zips Car Wash continuing to make it about more than washing cars, as they've committed to raising more than $100,000 for Susan G. Komen and the work that they do there. So they're calling it Wash for a Cure. Awesome job at Zips. What else do we have? We have Driven Brands continuing down the acquisition train and down that track. So you've got Stop and Wash. They added 4 of those to their portfolio, rather. And then we've got some more acquisition news. We've got 3 grand openings for Club Car Wash in the month of May, which sounds a little chaotic to me. Like, I don't know about like doing 3 openings all in the same month. That feels like maybe I wouldn't sleep. But hey, you do you, and I'm going to celebrate you every day of the week. So, okay, that's what we've got on that front. I did want to let you guys know that we dropped a new episode of the podcast this week, as we always do, and that's a conversation that we had on the show last week with Luke Bathel from Rinse and Ride, all about creating company culture and really taking care of your people. So check that out, and that'll get you going on your way this week. One more thing I want to talk about. We mentioned it last week. There's a program from ICA called the Executive Management Institute, and you can see a little bit of video kind of running up here in the corner. I'm going to show that to you in just a minute, but it's really like a mini MBA for car washers, right? It's like a week. You get to come together in this cohort experience with other kind of emerging car wash professionals and people who want to up their game. And I think it's a super impactful thing. And I got to go to the last one for a couple of days just to check out kind of the energy and the vibe and what was going on there. And a lot of really talented people went through that program. You've got just a little bit of time left to apply for the next round of that. You've got, I think June 1st is the deadline to get your application in. Spots are limited, just a handful left. So make sure you check that out. That's all of my words about that. Let's hear real quick from some of the folks who've been.
The men and women that have attended this program have not only been captains of industry, but incredibly friendly and welcoming and interested in growing this business and growing in relationship with the people that are in it.
This week has far exceeded my expectations.
Now I feel like a Notre Dame fan for life.
It was an amazing opportunity, and I'm very grateful.
All right, so there you have it. You can apply at carwash.org/EMI. Go do it. Do it now. Well, not now. We've got a great show for you coming up here. We've got Dave Dalesandro joining us from Jetbrites Car Wash. He's going to talk about how to keep things consistent, and he's going to talk a little bit about why he's stayed away from unlimited programs. So we'll get to that in just a moment. So up next, my friends, we've got in case you missed it, because I know that you guys do have regular jobs and you do have to wash cars. So in case you did miss last week, this is Luke Bathel from Rinse and Ride.
And we're not unlike any other car wash that our people go through some pretty difficult stuff, on a weekly basis. And, a lot of the comments that we would continue to hear is, hey, I'm having a hard time paying for this or having a hard time paying for that, kind of regardless of where they are at on the pay spectrum. And, I think a lot of our people come from single parent households and some from broken homes, and just were never taught a lot of the stuff that some of us were afforded the ability to learn about and know through education. So we hadn't really found the platform that we liked. So we wanted to build out something that wouldn't be a threat for our employees to do on their own time. And what I mean by that is, you can say, hey, we're going to offer this Dave Ramsey course, and you go to it and it's 5 hours this day, 5 hours. One, they don't have the time for it. And two, a lot of them don't want to be exposed to admit that they don't know something. So we're in the process of building out a software that will hit on a lot of the topics that our people struggle with. And so the first one that we've tackled is financial literacy. So it goes into, it's an app-based system on their phone and on their computers, and they can learn about what is the value in understanding a budget. And then there's always a section on a now what section, right? Like you can believe that budgeting is a good thing, or that mental health is a good thing, but now what? What's the next functional step of actually? And then that next step is actually creating their budget, and the system walking them through creating their first one, and how to watch it and how to engage with that budget with their household. And so that was the first of many sections that we're working on getting to, because that typically is one of the biggest conversations that we have on site is around financial literacy. And
All right, if you want to watch that full episode, you know where you need to do it, right there, carwashmagazine.com. All the episodes are there, all 58 of them, and then 59 today will be added later this afternoon, so you can watch it on a replay to get all that knowledge that you maybe miss in the moment. So, up next, friends, my favorite part of the program, it is time for We Got Jokes.
My name is Reese Wolf, and I have a joke for you. What did the square say to the empty room? Square is everybody.
Now, she is her father's daughter, based on that joke alone. Square is everybody. I mean, come on. What a punchline. Are you kidding me with that? We've got more jokes coming for you every single week because it's my favorite and I like to tell bad jokes. Hey, listen up. If you guys want to tell some jokes, your kids want to tell some jokes, send them in. mdewolf@carwash.org. I am going to make good on my promise. We will make a competition out of this, and we will use all of these videos together to give away some sort of a prize. It will happen. Wait for it. Until then, we have got a tour for you right now of Jetbrite. Hey, that was Jetbrite Car Wash, and now we have live and in person, as much as in person as you can get, Dave Dalesandro. Dave, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks. It's great to be here.
Hey, so a couple of things jump out at me from the video that I just watched that you didn't get to see. One is just how clean the washes are and just how well maintained they are. So kudos to you for that. The second thing that I want to talk super briefly about before we kind of get an introduction to you is there's a shot in the video of this scent spraying down right before they get hit with some water. What is going on there?
Well, I mean, everybody likes to have a clean, fresh scent in the car wash going through the car wash. And that's normally done by scenting the detergents.
Yeah.
Putting scent in the soap. That gets diluted out pretty good, and it's very expensive to run it that way. So we figured out if we just shoot a concentrated mist for about 1 second, 2 seconds right into the vents behind the windshield wipers, we'll get a strong scent into the car and without having to scent all the soaps in the product. So it's a much more efficient way to apply that.
And you can be consistent because you know exactly how much is going every time. So we're going to get into that.
Right.
We're going to get into that. Dave, before we get into all that and we wow the masses with your with your knowledge, can you just give us kind of the quick and dirty version of your path into car washing? How'd you get here?
Oh man, that's a quick and dirty version. Is in 1984, as I was finishing college, my father had a gas station across the street from a closed down gas station that had a little car wash on it. And the pumps had been pulled out. It was just a crappy little gas station with an old 65-foot car wash tunnel. And so bottom line is we ended up buying it very, very cheap. And it was a real dump. We fixed it up the best we could and ran it for about 15 years. So that was the start.
So
it was ugly. It
started with a dump. There we go.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So now you've got Jetbrite. Jetbrite has got 11 locations. Is that right?
10 locations with 11 under construction, another one in development as well. So
gotcha. Okay.
We'll
So
do 12 pretty quick here.
So all kind of in that Chicago market.
Mm-hmm. All in a concentrated area of the Chicago market.
Okay.
Strictly the western suburbs of Chicago.
Can you talk about that approach a little bit? Why saturate your own area?
Well, we'll talk about that a little bit later because I know you're going to ask some questions about other things. But, it's not that we're oversaturating ourselves. It's not that we're cannibalizing ourselves. But we want to be close. As we go from one location to the next location, we keep all our locations close to where we are, close to our home office. We can keep more control. We can maintain, as you were saying, consistency. We can maintain our product and our brand. Also, just what I said about brand, we can build that brand if we have a large number of locations in a small geographic area. If we spread out all over the state or all over the country, with just one location every 20, 30 miles, it's much harder to build that brand.
Yeah. And okay. So let's jump in on consistency. I want to come back to the unlimited thing here in a minute, and why you decide to not do unlimited clubs, which I think is a hot topic, but we're going to come right back to that. Hold on, folks. Look, you're talking about consistency, and I got the chance to be at your wash and to see that kind of in action, and you do notice the little things that you're doing to make sure that it's the same every time for every customer every time you go through that. Can you share a few things that you do and a few things that you focus on to keep that consistency at not only at the one location but across the others in the area?
Yeah. Well, it's, consistency isn't one big thing. It's a lot of little things you have to do. And it starts with the design. If you design your car wash to make it easy for your employees to keep it clean, to maintain the equipment, to maintain the chemicals, the easier you make it for everybody, the more consistent you can be. And also by keeping it simple. The more complicated you make your operation, the harder it is going to be to keep it consistent. So those are the big things. But getting down into the tunnel, the one thing we try to focus on, if you want to pick one big thing, it would be chemistry. The car wash soaps and detergents, getting those mixed, injected, and applied to the car in just the right way consistently all the time. If we maintain that, we tend to get a really consistent, clean, dry, shiny car.
Well, you guys also do a great job with just the overall look, right? Jetbrite. It's obvious. It from the outside you can see it. You've got the great signage. They all kind of have the same vibe when you pull on the lot. You've got the employees are all in the nice green wear and the Jetbrite. By the way, the Jetbrite sweatshirts are the best sweatshirts on the planet. So wherever you got those,
we'll get you.
Yeah, super awesome sweatshirts. Sorry, we're diverging. I like the sweatshirt.
Yeah. You're not wearing it though.
I know. I gotta stay on brand. This is my own consistency. This is my consistency. But so it's like look and feel of the washes, but like, what's that effort like? And do you ever feel like, kind of like stuck to one model, like you don't get to take any chances?
No, it's not that we're stuck to it. We love it. We love the brand. We love the brand is part of the image of the building. My partner Sam designed that building, and it's his baby, and we love the design of the building, and we love the fact that every single one of our locations has that same building, has that same look, and the consistency through that, which helps build the brand, and it all goes hand in hand. You see the same property, you see the same landscaping, you see the same signage, as you go from location to location, and we never get tired of it.
Yeah, you guys have it's the signature effect, right? It's like you see a Chick-fil-A, you see a Starbucks, you see a McDonald's. Yeah. You know what that is, and you know what to expect because they're doing the same thing you're doing in terms of keeping things consistent for the customers on all fronts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly how it goes.
Hey, okay. So everybody's here because they want to know. They want to know, why does Dave Dalesandro hang on to a $3 wash, and why does Dave Dalesandro not do unlimited clubs? The floor is yours, my friend. I'm going to walk away. I'm out.
Well, it's why we don't do aluminum clubs yet.
Yeah.
Let's hold on to that. Come back to
Fair.
that. Okay. But let's start with the $3 wash. Okay. When we started the Express thing, we were very early in this business. And I think 2000, we opened the first location. So when we started with the $3 wash, the long tunnels with the heated drying system, the pay stations, the free vacuums, when all that came together, and that was an evolution over several years, we found that we wowed the customer, and there's nothing more exciting. There's nothing that keeps you more, wanting to come to work every day and smile, is when you're wowing customers. And the $3 was a big, I can't believe you're doing this incredible car wash for only $3 and free vacuums and the whole thing. And the customers were just, were raving fans. And we never wanted to get away from that. We didn't know we'd hold on to the $3 this long. Here we are 15 years later, and we're still running the $3 price, and we're still wowing customers. And, we just don't want that party to end. We know that we can raise the price and we'll keep the customers, but will we keep wowing them? And will they keep feeling like they've come in every time and they've beat us, they've cheated us, they've gotten something for free? And we want to keep that going. The other side of that is we got a lot of competition coming in the market. And if you want to compete with us, you got to have to compete at $3. And we're going to drive that for a long time yet. So that's the $3.
That's the $3. Okay. All right. Hold on. Okay. So part of it is, look, if you're going to come in and compete, you got to come down and you got to compete at me with the level that I'm very comfortable with and that I do very well. Right. That's a big piece of it.
Right. It's our sandbox.
You know what I like though, Dave? This is like the psychology of consumers, right? You said people feel like they're winning, right? They feel like they're getting one over on you. Can you talk a little bit more about that and like how you see that and what that mentality is?
Oh, it's absolutely that way. When you give the customer a wow, everybody's out every day consuming. Okay, customers are out every day. They're buying things. They're spending money on whatever they spend money on. Okay, but very few times are they actually wow. They may go back. Hey, I like that restaurant. I'm okay with the price. But they're not excited about it. It doesn't make their day. Okay, we're watching people come in these car washes. They're excited. It makes their day. It's their family destination. They pull up after church. The kids get out of the car and play with the vacuums. And it's a whole thing. And that whole wow experience, it's making them happy. And we want to keep driving that for as long as we can. And it is a consumer behavior. Prior to the whole express wash craze, the average customer visited a professional car wash once or twice a year at most. I mean, that's how they average it out. Okay. So what changed is that it's not that anything changed. It's consumer behavior change. Now they're those same people that never went to a regular car wash or washed their car themselves in the driveway or never went very frequently to a car wash are now coming frequently. And so it exploded the market. Now, it's not that we have more people or more cars on the street. We just have people washing their car more often. And that's, where we cross. So we change consumer behavior with that. When I say we, I mean our whole industry. We change consumer behavior and it ain't going to change back. We're going to keep driving it forward. Well, and
what's interesting, right, is part of that is that when customers wash their cars more frequently, you don't have to have as much of a top end wash to get all that dirt off, right? So that the lower washes can do a better job if customers are doing that more frequently.
Yeah, it's a false sense of security too. Okay, we think we're doing a great job cleaning the cars, but really the customers are coming so often, car ain't getting that dirty.
Yeah, yeah.
For some of us older guys that have been around longer, we remember when the customer would go 3 months without washing their car and then pull in and their rims are covered in brake dust and it's bolted on. It's hardened onto the rim, and you want to get that off in one pass through the car wash. It wasn't easy, so it's gotten easier for us, but we don't want to take our foot off that gas pedal. We still want to make sure our tunnels are set up to really clean these cars.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is what, like you said, it comes back to chemistry, right? And you're getting your chemistry right, dialed in, and the same every time.
It's one of the arts that people are getting away from. People are so focused now on the marketing and driving club plant sales or whatever they're on, and they're not thinking about standing in their tunnel and watching, and tweaking the chemistry of the tunnel. There's one operator in Arizona. I'm not going to mention names, but someone I respect a great deal. And I think he was up to, at the time, maybe 15 locations. And this is going back about 5 years. And I'm driving through Arizona, and I pull in one of the sites that I saw just open recently. And inside the tunnel, there's the owner himself. He ain't sitting in an office in San Francisco. He's inside his tunnel, and he's adjusting nozzles. He's dialing in his drying agent because he's not happy with the way the cars are coming dry. This is the owner himself. I think he's up to 35 locations or more now. But, that was it. That is consistency. That guy's going to get consistency.
That's a great tip. That's a great tip for people, right? Like, watch cars. Like, you want to figure out how to keep yourself consistent. Watch cars go through your tunnel. Like, you'll pick it up every time.
You're not going to do it from your office.
No. Or even like the monitors, right? Like, you can monitor levels and you can monitor all these things, but unless you're watching cars get processed and go through, you're going to miss it.
Exactly right. You got to stand in that tunnel. You got to get wet.
Yeah, right. Yeah, don't be afraid.
You got to be ready to get wet.
Hey, all right, Dave.
You got to have a passion. You got to have a passion for it.
Yeah. You gotta love doing this thing.
You got to get excited.
Hey, okay. So let's talk about unlimited.
Okay.
It's a big elephant. I talked at the beginning of the show about you eat the elephant one bite at a time. So we're gonna take a bite here. Why have you not done unlimited programs yet? Like, why have you stayed focused on kind of this retail customer?
Okay. Well, first of all, the retail customer, I love the term. It has been very, very good to us. And so we'll start with that. We build locations on high volume streets and high volume, A+ locations that can wash a lot of cars. And we've had the right mix and the right model, and we've washed a lot of cars. But the unlimited, when you're charging just a $3 price, it makes doing unlimited a little harder. And I'll explain what I'm saying. So if you just offer the unlimited without doing any great incentive or any way to drive this up, we see most places get to 500, 1,000 cars, maybe a little more, if you're not doing anything to drive those sales up. And those first 1,000 customers on your unlimited plan, those are your Uber drivers and your high-use car wash fanatics that are coming in. So the redemption rate on those is very large. It's very high compared to where you want to get to. Now, if you incentivize and drive the sales of that club plan, and you get to the 3,000, 2,500, 3,000 members or above, that's when everything is great. Okay, the redemption comes down, the revenue is fantastic, and it can carry the whole wash. And it's a great place to be, and that's where most operators are striving to get to right now. But to incentivize customers into those numbers, to get that many memberships, there are some things you have to do that we weren't willing to do. One was, there's 3 ways that they've been driving that thing. One is raise the price of the retail car wash. Okay, so instead of $3, you want to be $5, $6, $7, or even $8 for your base price. That way you can make the club plan look better, and that's the better value, and you force people into that plan. Okay, we weren't willing to do that. So going to the club plan with that is an issue. Another thing is the VIP lane. Nothing's going to drive away your retail customer faster than when they're waiting in line and people are cutting in front of them, and you're allowing people to come. Our retail customer are raving fans. They've been very good to us. We're not going to do that to them. That would be a tremendous insult in our opinion. So we're hamstrung by that. And then third is the selling on the islands. Now it could be done right, but when it's done aggressively, when it's pressured, we know that drives customers away. And we know that because when we first put in the pay stations, which was new to our industry, our volumes went up. And it took us a while to figure that out, but we eventually figured out our volumes went up because customers were allowed to choose in a no pressure atmosphere and pick the wash they wanted without being pressured. So there's a big thing to that we weren't willing to cross those lines, but lately things are changing. So
Things are changing indeed. Hey, there's a key point in that with the pay stations and the sales side of the things with people who are selling unlimiteds. I think like people in the industry have this notion that because we're kind of service focused and we want to talk to people, we want to engage with the customers want that, but they don't. Like a lot of them don't. They want to see a smile maybe, but they don't necessarily want to engage with you. It's kind of like going and getting your haircut, right? Like sometimes when you get a haircut, yeah, you want to do the small talk and do the thing. Yeah. Sometimes you just want a haircut. Like, don't talk to me, just do the thing and get me on my way. And that's that. I mean, I think that's the big thing with the pay stations and the attendance and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's not an opinion, Matt. I mean, the volumes went up when we put in the pay station.
Yeah.
As an industry, our volumes went up when we went to pay stations. So, that's a big statement right there. Yeah.
Okay, so things are changing. You've not done unlimiteds.
Yes.
You've been successful there. You've kind of. I don't know if it's maybe you're like a little like masochistic on this front because you've continued to have to weather the weather through all of this, right? And like deal with that. But are you going to do unlimiteds? Like, are you headed that way?
Yes. Yeah, we're headed that way. Well, first of all, we got the concerns that I just mentioned aren't the only concerns, but I'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But we think we can overcome that. Okay. We've been working with Steve Gaudreau at Brinks Results, and we've come up with a plan to address to where we can drive the sales of the memberships and continue to wow our retail customers. And that's the key. If we could do both, which no one's been able to do yet, we could do both. It's a big win. And we want both markets. We want to wow both customers. And so we have a plan. We think that we'll do that. The other thing that's changed is the RFID and the LPR technology. We see RFIDs as being very intrusive, restrictive, and downright unprofessional. Now, as much as we love the technology and it's made a lot of money for a lot of people, the idea that a customer can't complete their online registration, without stopping into the wash and getting out of their car and having this employee get in their car or reach in their car and place these stickers, it's extremely intrusive. Okay, and then there's problems with the RFID when it doesn't read right. Now you're telling the customer to pull forward, back up. They got to wait for the attendant to come out to the island, and then when that doesn't work, once again you're crawling inside the customer's car and tearing those tags off. So that was way too unprofessional for us to go down that path. So we've been waiting patiently for the LPR technology to come along. As that evolves, and we feel it's good enough now. We know there's still problems with it.
Yeah, sure.
We feel it's now reached a point where we can go down that path. And, now it's like, what everybody already knows, that the customer will be able to complete the whole registration online or through their cell phone without having to stop in the wash and get that RFID tag. They are good to go the minute they charge their credit card. Same thing from the pay station. They can sign up at the pay station and they're done. They're good to go. That's huge. Well, and then when there is a problem, when it doesn't read right, instead of crawling in the customer's car or telling them to pull forward and back up, the customer can correct the problem themselves on the pay station screen, or the employee can correct it for them on the pay station screen without reaching into their car.
Yeah. And
so, big game changer. We've gone from extremely intrusive and unprofessional to extremely professional and high tech. And I think that's a big driver of now where we can go with this. And so I'm pretty excited about the other thing we have going is the saturation of our washes in a geographic area that you already touched on. We have a large number of locations in a small geographic area, all concentrated in one area. And, the customer can't go from work to home without passing one of our car washes. So it's a big advantage, and we're gonna exploit that now.
Yeah, and that was intentional. That was on purpose. In case anybody was wondering, that was all on purpose, friends. Key component here, we're picking up a theme here. Customers don't want to be intruded upon. So we got that when we're talking about the payment, the point of sale systems. We get that when we're talking about RFIDs and having to correct some of those problems for folks. Here we are. Dave, when you get to the point where you are going to have to probably staff these pay stations, you're going to have some attendants out there talking to customers. Yeah. What do you think your approach is going to be? How are you going to maintain the kind of brand and the consistency and the experience of Jetbrite without encroaching on that while also selling unlimiteds?
Well, we think we figured out a way to do that, but we're not going to talk about it yet. We're going to ask me in a year. We're going to roll this out later this year, and we'll see how it goes. But that is exactly what we're trying to do. Okay, is to be there without being intrusive.
Yeah, and it's going to be
it's going to work a tight line.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be in that balance of what we're talking about, right? Like, because you want to keep both customers very happy and very wowed with the experience. So you really need to nail it on the unlimited side so that they'll recur. But you still need to keep that core retail group happy because they're going to ultimately, that retail washing group will drive your unlimited. So
yeah, they're both.
You can't mess any of it up. No pressure. Sorry. I mean,
no pressure. Yeah, but we're trying to do something that really hasn't been done yet, but we really, we've been waiting until we had the plan to do it, and we felt that we had all the pieces in place, and now we do. And so we're excited to push forward with that. But like I said, I'll let you know how it goes. It could be a giant flop. Who knows? Yeah.
Well, sometimes that happens, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Because then we fix it, and it's fine. Hey, if you guys are watching, if you have a question for Dave and you want to get that into the program, go ahead and fire those away in the comments, and we'll try to get that shot up here to Dave as we talk. We've got a few more questions here on our end, but if you have some, do get them in those comments. Dave, I want to talk about, what do I want to talk about? I want to talk about the meaning of life. No, I don't. I want to talk about you and all of this, right? Like you've been in the industry for a long time. You've been a really great operator. You've been on the distributor side as well. You've seen a lot of things. What are you kind of watching, or what kind of trend are you seeing that you might be willing to share with folks?
Well, there's a couple of long-term and short-term things going on right now. One is, right now the big thing is the labor shortage. We just, our number of applicants that we normally get in a week's time has dropped by 80%. And as bad as it is for us, from what I'm hearing from my friends throughout the country, it's much worse in a lot of other places and even right here. So that's a threat to our whole industry right now because we're having a tough time, staffing these car washes. In addition to that, right now we got supply chain shortages. Critical parts that we need to keep our car washes running are stuck on freighters overseas, and they're just not getting here. And everyone's running out, and some people may be hoarding them. We don't know what's going on, but there's no availability of anything right now. And in addition to that, the prices are shooting through the roof. Steel's going up like crazy, and everything we use in these car washes is made from steel. So prices is a big deal. So building a new car wash from a construction and equipment standpoint today versus a year ago is substantially higher. And so we're seeing those going up, and those are a continual threat to what we're doing. You can't talk about this without talking about capital gains. If there's a major change in capital gains tax that we're going to watch closely, this whole acquisition phase that's going on right now, all these PE groups buying up both our suppliers and the car washes out there, could come to a giant halt. And I'm not an expert on economics, but we're gonna we're gonna see what happens if that actually, hopefully the capital gains tax doesn't pass. But if it does, I don't know how it's going to affect this industry, but it's absolutely going to affect us. Yeah, and it's going to affect us in a big way. What we're doing. Yeah. And lastly, go ahead.
Well, it's interesting. You're talking about supply chain issues and prices being up. Lumber's high, steel's high. Mm-hmm. There's no used cars on the markets, no houses, but all this demand pushing on it. So we're really the economy's in a weird place. It's doing well, but it doesn't really make any sense. It's doing this.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
No, you can't really understand it. When it talks about this number of unemployment, but yet no one's coming from work. No one's applying for jobs. So,
right.
It's hard to put that together. It's just an unusual hiccup in the way things normally work in our economy. But regardless, none of us care about that.
Right.
All we care about the fact that we can't hire and we can't get supplies.
Right.
So what are we going to do about that?
That's funny.
We'll wait and see how that goes. But longer term, you can't have this conversation without talking about oversaturation and competition. Yeah. And we had hoped for a long time that the market would saturate but not oversaturate. But now we see that's just not going to happen. Our market's oversaturating in pretty much every place in the country, and we just have to accept that that's the way it's going to be now, and get ready for that. So, I think overall it's a bad, we're not the first industry to go through this, but we'll survive it.
We always do. We always do. We're a resilient bunch, it turns out. Yeah. Hey, I've got a question from Ken Hill. He wants to know if you have a loyalty club, right? So for your retail customers, any loyalty programs in place? Not unlimited?
No.
No loyalty?
No.
Okay.
No. Our program with the retail was everyday low price.
Yeah.
Show our customers appreciation every single day, every time they come to our wash, okay, with the low everyday price. And that was where we're going. No gimmicks.
Which which gives you actually like you don't have to discount. You don't need coupons. You don't need discounts. It's everyday low price.
Yeah. Well, that goes back to keeping it simple.
Yeah.
It's a much simpler operation, and then it all feeds consistency and it's all tied together.
Yeah, it's much easier to be consistent when it's one step instead of 12.
Yeah.
Right.
There you go.
That's funny.
We're not that good.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be consistent on an easy operation. It's another to be consistent in a complicated operation.
That's funny.
So we'll pick the easy, and then we'll look good.
It's like low bar, right? Yeah. That's funny. Hey, Dave, one more question for you from me, and then I'll let you get back to it. What's one thing, if I'm an operator out there, what's one thing that I can kind of do today that's going to make me better tomorrow?
Get inside your tunnel. Get inside your tunnel. You're watching these cars come out. They got to be spotless. They got to be shiny. They got to be clean. They got to be dry. And your place has to be clean. If you don't have eyes on it, and see what you see from a customer standpoint. How clean, how effective is your wash? And stick with the basics. Those are just the bare bone basics. Forget about marketing. Forget about the other things. Stick with the basics. Put out a good product and wow your customer, and everything else will kind of work out.
I love that. Sage advice from an awesome operator in the Midwest. Dave, thank you so much for being on the program today.
I appreciate being here. You're running a great show, and you're doing great things for the industry. Thank you, Matt.
Oh, thanks, Dave. Hey, if you guys are watching at home and you want to see more programs like this, want to see more great car wash stories, you can do that at carwashmagazine.com or anywhere that you are consuming this kind of content. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're in all the places. Guess what, friends? When you're out there this weekend and into next week, there's only one thing you've got to do. Dave talked about it, and that is keep it clean.